cat, one desire. Today on Commander Replay, the kitten mittens are coming off. It's going to be a full-out catfight of Balan the Wandering Knight versus Grand Arbiter Augustin IV, Atraxa Praetor's Council, and Karlov of the Ghost Council. Find out who wins next on Commander Replay.
Hello everyone, welcome back, playing some Balan Wandering Knight today. So Balan is 2 white for a 3/3 with first strike. If there's 2 or more equipments attached to Balan, it has double strike, and you may pay 1 and a white to attach all equipment you control to Balan. So I've been playing Balan for the past week or two since it's been on Magic Online, and it's been really powerful. The ability to cheat mana costs on your equipment is huge. Take a look at our opening hand. We have a bunch of lands, Gift of Estates, Sword of Fire and Ice, and Comeuppance. Yeah, we'll keep this. Turn 1 Sol Ring for the Karlov opponent. So back to our turn, we draw a Luxodon Warhammer. This turn we're just going to play our Cathedral of War because it comes into play tapped, and then we'll pass the turn. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. We have Grand Arbiter Augustin IV, is 2 white-blue for a 2/3. White spells you cast cost 1 less. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less. Spells your opponents cast cost 1 more. Grand Arbiter, usually a control tax deck, looking to slow down and lock people out of the game. Pretty tricky opponent to play against. We're definitely going to want to try to get as many things cast that we can before Grand Arbiter comes into play. Next up, we have Atraxa Praetor's Voice, is green, white, blue, black for a 4/4 Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, proliferate. So usually a +1/+1 counter deck or a Super Friends kind of deck. And the Atraxa starts with a turn 2 Birds of Paradise. Next up, we have Karlov of the Ghost Council, is a white and a black for a 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Karlov, pay a white and a black, remove 6 counters, and exile target creature. Karlov is going to gain massive amounts of life, and Karlov is removal on a stick, which is going to be really problematic for us. So we'll probably have to target down the Karlov opponent first. Back to our turn. So unfortunately we can't do anything. Hopefully Grand Arbiter doesn't come down next turn, otherwise things are going to get really slow. Although Grand Arbiter has this way of eating up a lot of the focus of the table because no one likes having to pay more for their spells. Yep, Grand Arbiter Augustin coming into play. Our life just got worse. Hopefully someone's got removal. And Atraxa opponent gets tripped up trying to cast something into the Grand Arbiter. Praetor's Grasp, targeting us. Karlov plays Praetor's Grasp, targeting us. Kind of a weird choice, honestly. Maybe because they're thinking we have a ton of artifacts and they'll be able to cast anything that they steal from us. I have a feeling they're going to be sorely disappointed in things that they find. Although, with the Grand Arbiter out, Mana Rocks would be very powerful. So if they steal our Sol Ring or Mana Crypt, that could be a problem. So one of our cards has been exiled. We do not know which one it is. It's a Bloodforged Battle Axe. Of course. Bloodforged Battle Axe has been really powerful. Especially in this deck, where you only have to pay 2 to equip all the copies. But it's a pretty cool card. And Karlov coming into us. That's not great. So, taking 2 from the Crypt Ghast, down to 38. Back to our turn. Return to Dust is a card. Don't know if we need it yet. Can't cast it yet, also, but definitely useful. Play the Plains. I mean, it's not great value, but I'm sort of tempted to cast the Gift of Estates right here, but maybe it's not worth it yet. We would only get 1 additional Plains out of the Gift of Estates, and the other 2 would get discarded to hand size. So that doesn't feel great, so we'll just pass the turn. Stormscape Familiar for the Grand Arbiter opponent, so they got a lot of cost reduction going on now. Sunscorch Regent for what looks like 3 mana. We're already at the part of the game where we need some removal, so that's fun. Grand Arbiter is going to swing into the Karlov opponent. Opponent's going to cast their Atraxa, and Sunscorch Regent is going to get a trigger. So they're going to gain some life, and it's going to get bigger. Yep, board wipe sounds really nice right now. Phyrexian Arena for the Karlov opponent. Sunscorch triggers again. Going to equip up the Bloodforged Battle Axe, and swings into us. Nothing we can do, we're going to have to take it. Going to get a copy of the Bloodforged Battle Axe. We draw a Command Beacon. Not exactly what we needed. We're up to 4 mana. We can cast a 3 mana spell because of the Grand Arbiter. I think we just need to slam down one of our equipments right now. Hope that someone plays a board wipe in this next turn cycle, because things are getting a little bit crazy. Thought Vessel for the Grand Arbiter, and a Sphere of Safety. It's going to be really hard to attack the Grand Arbiter opponent. So Grand Arbiter sends in the Arbiter and the Sunscorch Regent to the Karlov opponent. They're going to be taking some damage. Goes down to 28. Mana Vault for the Atraxa opponent. And Astral Cornucopia, X2. So Atrax is going to be able to accelerate a bit past the Grand Arbiter attacks. Right now, Grand Arbiter is hitting us the worst because everyone else has accelerated quite a bit, and we have not. Atrax is going to proliferate. Phyrexian Arena trigger for the Karlov. Down to 27. Ancient Craving for the Karlov opponent, drawing all the cards. Seems like Karlov hasn't really found too much of their life gain stuff yet. They do have the Cryptghast in play, but I would expect them to have more life gain going by now. And that's the Swords to Plowshares on the Sunscorch region, and that's a very good thing. That actually changes what I think we're going to do on our turn. So I was going to hold up the comeuppance on our turn because of the Sunscorch region. We wouldn't have been able to afford to take that kind of hit. It was getting up around 10, 11 power. But now that that's gone, I think we just play Balan on our turn, and we can actually try to start doing something the following turn. Cryptghast is going to hit us again, and another copy of the Bloodforged Battle Axe. One thing when you're playing Bloodforged Battle Axe in a deck that's not Balan is you kind of get limited by the amount of mana you have to equip all of the copies. Super late in a game, it's fine, but still this early in a game, you are very restricted by the amount of mana you can pump into it. So we draw planes, we'll play the planes, and we'll just cast our Balan. And Balan's getting countered. I'm a little upset about that, considering I'm getting beat up pretty hard by the Karlov opponent. That does not feel great. Opponent was trying to get the card draw when they countered us. Yeah, we really needed that Balan to resolve, so that was not great. Rings of Bright Earth for the Atraxa opponent. That card can do some crazy stuff. Atraxa is going to proliferate again. Astral Cornucopia up to 4 counters. There's a lot of things worth hitting with Return to Dust right now, and unfortunately we can only hit 2 targets. Soul Warden coming down for the Karlov opponent. Now going to cast our Karlov. Karlov coming into play. Karlov's going to get some counters, and a Grim Monolith for the Karlov opponent. Going to get an Extort trigger. Does not pay. Going to equip up one of the Battle Axe copies. Going to equip up another copy. And Grand Arbiter is going to overload a Cyclonic Rift. Oh, that's awesome, because now the Bloodforged Battle Axe is going to come back to our hand. Nice. That's exactly what we needed. Opponent says this game's no fun for them. I just said I got my only creature countered. I don't know what they're talking about. They had a whole bunch of stuff in play. So the Atraxa opponent scoops after saying that they don't like playing against heavy control decks. That being the case, I think now is a good time to fire off this Return to Dust so we can heavily incentivize the Karlov opponent to attack the Grand Arbiter. And unfortunately, everything cost at least 2 because of Grand Arbiter. So we have to pass our turn. We took out the Sphere of Safety and their Thought Vessel, so if they draw a bunch of cards, they will have a maximum hand size. That's a Blind Obedience. That's also pretty annoying. Means that we can't haste our creatures down and get in with them. Also means our mana rocks are pretty terrible. So Grand Arbiter still going in at the Karlov opponent. Petrified Field. Never seen this one. Add a colorless or sack it, return target land from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. Animate Dead on the Cryptghast. How did Cryptghast die? Huh. Oh, must have discarded it to hand size, I guess. So Cryptghast back to play. Sol Ring for the Karlov opponent. Comes into play tapped. Thanks to the Blind Obedience. Yep, makes the mana rocks not so good. Blind Obedience. Authority of the Consoles. Ugh. Austere Command would be really nice. I don't think I'm running it in this deck, but that's the card that we need right now. So we can go up to 7, and we can just try to cast our Balan. So cast Balan. Hopefully we don't run into a counterspell. So Balan comes into play. Karlov gains a life. Wow. Karlov's up to 10 commander damage from Grand Arbiter. That's, you don't usually see people getting there in the red zone with Grand Arbiter. So Karlov is going to return one of their fetch land. They're going to sack the Petrified Field to return a fetch land to their hand. Probably going to try to find another swamp because of the Cryptghast. Merciless Eviction, exiling all creatures. That is really big, actually. See if it resolves. It resolves, so that is awesome. Now we'll be able to slam a whole bunch of things on our next turn. Getting rid of that Grand Arbiter is a really big deal. And now the good thing is that if opponent wants to recast it, it's basically going to take them almost all their mana to do it. They're going to have to spend an entire turn doing that, which means that they aren't doing things that are more powerful than that. So we have 8 cards in hand, 7 mana available to us. So we'll try to slam all of our equipment. Start with the Warhammer, then Fire and Ice, then Bloodforged Battle Axe. Unfortunately, we're missing Haste. Haste is well, Haste wouldn't do anything, I guess, with the Blind Obedience and the Authority of the Consoles out, but that's what we've been needing. We've been needing Grand Arbiter to get removed from the battlefield, and that finally happened. So, opponent's going to recast their Grand Arbiter, and like I said, they've only got 1 mana left, so that's a very good thing. Authority of the Consoles is going to trigger. Karlov's going to gain some life. Steel of the Godhead for the Grand Arbiter opponent. It's now a 4-5 with lifelink and unblockable. So Karlov coming back into play. And this is where we have to be careful, because if Karlov starts gaining life, then he can easily remove Balan. Where did all of our artifacts go? Ugh. So Karlov cast an austere command and just wiped all of our artifacts, which we were very much needing to do a lot of things. Luckily, we still have this Stratascythe, and there's a lot of planes in play right now, so that could potentially just be lethal. Recast our Balan. Opponent's going to gain some life. Did get rid of the Grand Arbiter again, though. He's not going to be able to recast it this time because he is out of mana. So opponent is one short of recasting their Grand Arbiter. They're going to get a Sun Titan. Steal the Godhead on a Sun Titan doesn't seem terrible. Or it could go for the Talisman as well. So opponent's going to go for the Talisman. That means that they guarantees that they can get Grand Arbiter back next turn. Necropotence for the Karlov opponent. Bet they draw a whole bunch of cards. They're already down to 21, so their life total is getting pretty low. And a Liliana's a Spectre. Each opponent discards a card. Oh. Well, I guess it's going to be the Gift of Estates for us. We really want everything else. Opponent's going to start using the Necropotence. See how many they draw. They were down to 1 card, so they'll probably go at least 6. Opponent goes down to 15 life. You're going to draw a bunch of cards. I hope they didn't catch a Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile. Those would be problematic for us. Back to our turn. We draw a Sunblast Angel. Sunblast Angel, fairly tempting. Would kill the Sun Titan. Although there's not a lot in our opponent's graveyard that... The Steal of the Godhead's a little bit annoying. It would only get lifelink, which, I mean, is still a thing, but it won't get both halves of the ability from the Steal of the Godhead. Now, we're going to have to hope that Karlov doesn't have Swords of Plowshares or Path to Exile right here. So we're going to cast the Stratascythe. We're going to choose a Plains. Then we're going to cast the Quietus Spike. Then we will go to combat against the Karlov. We get an Exalted trigger. See if they decide to block. Oh, wow, he doesn't block. So we activate. We just gotta hope he doesn't have something. And Karlov takes a damage. They're going down. Nice. Quietus Spike is gonna trigger. Unfortunately, they're already at 1 life. So if he blocked there, he would have been fine. But Karlov goes down. Nice. Now we just have to deal with this Grand Arbiter opponent, and Grand Arbiter's only got 1 card in hand. So feeling pretty good about that. What's this? When it blocks, exchange its power and the power of target creature it's blocking until end of combat. Weird. Opponent's going to get an Extort trigger. So Sun Titan's attacking, targeting Steal of the Godhead. They're going to get some lifelink. So we go down to 19. Grand Arbiter's up to 61. No cards in hand, though. And the thing you want to see against a blue deck is no cards in hand. So we're just going to go to combat. If opponent doesn't block, it's lethal. 11 with double strike. And we'll get 1 more off the Cathedral. So we get an Exalted trigger. The Serene Master's going to trigger. I think we'll be okay, though, because of the static effects from Stratascythe and the First Strike Death Touch. Yeah, so that goes down. That's gone. Unfortunately, Sword of Fire and Ice is the one we really wanted. We really want something that's going to give us unblockable or flying or something like that. Player Strip Mine. Back to Grand Arbiter's turn. Hope they don't draw anything. So Sun Titan's going to attack. Unfortunately, it's going to get back the Serene Master, which is going to be annoying for us. We're going to use the Comeuppance to get rid of the Sun Titan right here. We can't have opponent getting back the Serene Master every turn. We'll crack our Myriad Landscape while we're in the process. Get a few lands out of our deck. So Sun Titan goes down. Opponent's going to play Prognostic Sphinx. Whenever it attacks Scry 3, that's not great. Scrying is going to be a pretty big deal for them at this point. That's a Bastion Protector. Bastion Protector's cool. So this will give Balan Indestructible, which means board wipes are off the table. Still looking for some sort of evasion on Balan, but we'll just keep swinging. 16-16 double strike. Opponent has to block. Serene Master does its thing. Goes down to the First Strike Death Touch. So opponent swings in with the Prognostic Sphinx. They're going to get the Scry 3. Let's see what they do. Nothing would make me happier. That puts a card on bottom. Puts a card on bottom. Puts a card on top. Ugh. So the card on top could be problematic. So Grand Arbiter Augustin coming back into play. Unfortunately gives our opponent another blocker. That's a Selfless Squire. Not really what we needed right here, but still useful. Possibly at some point. Unfortunately, we don't have more equipments. Otherwise, I was thinking about trying to do some tricky stuff with the Bastion Protector. There are 11 planes in play. Yeah, I think we leave the equipments as they are and just swing like this. Opponent's forced into a block, so Grand Arbiter blocks, goes down. Opponent's going to take 3. We're going to fire off our Sunblast Angel right here to get rid of the Sphinx. Oh, that was bad. I did a bad. Nope, never mind. We are going to... Yeah, I should have not attacked with the Bastion Protector, but I need to get rid of the Sphinx. The Scry and the Sphinx is going to be way too strong. So, unfortunately, we're going to lose our Bastion Protector. We do lose a little bit of protection from Balan, but nothing we can do about it at this point. Opponent passes. Back to our turn. Play a Plains. Condemn or something like that. Get an Exalted trigger. See if they have something. Angel of the Dire Hour. All right, that's a card. That's a card. So Balan's going to get exiled. It's unfortunate. How much to recast Balan? That 10? That's a 10. 10 to recast Balan. Eee. How much mana do we have? We have 10, 11, 12. I do want to leave this Selfless Squire up, so I'm going to sack our Command Beacon to put Balan back into our hands so we can play it much, much cheaper. So Balan back into play, comes into play tapped. We just gotta hope our opponent doesn't draw anything big, and Balan will get there. Assuming they attack. If they attack with the Angel of the Dire Hour, we are in great shape. Oops, and I forgot to close that window over there. It's funny, you get going into a game, and you start thinking about the game, you start forgetting about stuff like closing the windows when players leave. That's Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves are kind of a pain. So that's our opponent's last card. We'll attach everything to Balan. Question is, does our opponent attack? Opponent does not attack, and rightfully so. If they do, we just come in for lethal. This buys them a turn. So attack with Balan. Get another Exalted trigger. Blocks with the Angel. Angel goes down. We'll play Worn Power Stone, and then we'll pass the turn. Opponent's got one card. What is it? It is a Fact or Fiction. That will turn into more cards. They're down to 5 mana though, so that does limit them a little bit. Oh, they got a whole lot of nothing. We'll put that there and put that there. That is game. So we're going to go with the Relic of Progenitus. Well, we got to hope we don't get blown out on the card draw by Relic of Progenitus. So opponent's going to exile all graveyards, and they're going to draw a card. See what it is. They're down to 3, though, so it can't be a board wipe. It's a Thalia. That's a blocker. So it's going to buy him another turn. Opponent's going to put boots on it. We draw Plains. So not helpful. Play the Plains. Swing in again. Going to have to block with the Thalia. Thalia goes down. I gotta fade a few more cards from our opponent. Probably should have split up the Relic of Progenitus and the Hedron Archive. Oh, there's a Day of Judgment. Oh. Alright, well. Oh man, we go down to 11. Why'd we go down to 11? Oh, Extort. Ooh. Opponent caster Hedron Archive. Fetch isn't super helpful. Looks like we're gonna have to use the fetch, since we tapped our lands incorrectly. And attach all equipment to Balan. Alright, let's see what our opponent's got. An Aetherling. Oh, that's not good. And opponent's going to get an Extort trigger. That's not good. They can extort us down pretty quickly here. We need to find something very soon. Like, very, very soon. Opponent attacks with the Aetherling? Oh, they can... we go down to 5. Okay, Aetherling comes back to play at the end. Sword of Feast and Famine. Not super helpful. Oh, wow. Opponent can kill us. Oh, what can we do here? What can we do? I guess, we can use the Selfless Squire, I guess. That'll give us 1 turn. Play the Sword of Feast and Famine. We'll attach everything. Get an Exalted trigger. Opponent's gonna block. Opponent's gonna flicker. And it's gonna prevent all the damage. Alright. Aetherling coming back to play. It's gonna pump the Aetherling. It's gonna swing with the Aetherling. And we will run out our Selfless Squire. So opponent's just gonna exile the Aetherling in response, so Selfless Squire doesn't get pumped up at all. Come on, we need a tutor. We need a tutor, trample, or unblockable. Oh my god, I think that's it. Cast Tajnar, hope there's no counterspell. We're gonna pay 6 for Tajnar, just in case. Alright, we don't have any lifelink because the Luxodon Warhammer's already got exiled. So we're just gonna go with the Whisper Silk Cloak and hope this sticks. Uh-oh, Quicken. Okay, it's just gonna draw them a card. That will extort them. Hope they draw lands. Gonna cycle, not that land, gonna cycle that land. Gonna crack their Hedron Archive. Draw 2 more cards. My palms are very sweaty. I'm pacing very frantically, doing all kinds of nervous habits with my hand. So attack with our Balan. 2020 protection from black, protection from green, shroud, death touch. Can't be blocked. So we're gonna get a bunch of sword triggers. Opponent says good game. And there it is. Finally, oh my god. Oh man, at first I thought we had the game easily locked up, and then I was worried we were actually going to lose the game because of the Aetherling, and we finally got there. Whew. Opponent says Swords to Plowshares is the next card. Wow. That was a game. So we got off to a terribly slow start with Balan. Everyone else had acceleration, and the Grand Arbiter came down very quickly, while we didn't have any acceleration, so we were just behind through the entire early part of the game. And the one turn where we could have gotten back into it, where we tried to cast Balan, we got countered, because on the following turn I was going to use the sword and something else to try to give Balan double strike and use 2 sword triggers to kill Grand Arbiter. But because of the counter, that didn't work out, and sort of just through attrition of Karlov and Grand Arbiter killing each other, we were able to climb back in at the end, and we one-shot Karlov out of the game, which was awesome. And then we had to really grind it out against the Grand Arbiter. So that's what Balan can do. It is a really powerful commander, but unfortunately, the very linear nature and the way that you build Balan means that you don't always have a lot of ways to get past tricks. If your opponents have a lot of tricks, then you're going to be in trouble. Single target removal is very powerful against Balan, so that is something you have to watch out for. We almost got out-tricked at the end, so we were very close to losing that game. But there is something in the efficiency of Balan, of you're playing things that do damage, and basically the one creature you need to pound out a ton of damage. So sometimes it's hard for opponents to keep up with that. It puts the onus on them to have very specific answers to deal with your threats in a very timely fashion. Anyway, this has been Balan. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.